Have you ever been in a situation in life or family that just seemed impossible to you? I was reading in Daniel chapter 2 where King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. And he turned to all the wise men and magicians and astrologers in the kingdom and said, I want you to interpret my dream. And they said, sure, tell us what the dream was. We'll interpret it for you. He said, no. We've played that game before. He said, if you really can interpret it, you could also tell me what the dream was. Well, obviously the wise men said, King, no one on planet Earth could do something like that, tell you the dream and interpret it. You've got to tell us a dream. He says, nope, if you can't tell me the dream, then you're worthless. I'm going to kill you all. Well, poor Daniel and his Hebrew friends were living in Babylon as captives, and they were part of the wise men. And when they came to kill Daniel and his friends, Daniel said, wait a second, let me pray and ask God to do something. And he turned to his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and said, let's pray and ask God, let's plead that God would have mercy upon us. Well, that night, while Daniel was sleeping, God gave him the dream and the interpretation of the dream. And the next day, he told the guy in charge, he said, take us to the king and we will tell him the dream. And he stood before King Nebuchadnezzar and he said, King Nebuchadnezzar, what you have asked of us is totally impossible. But there is a God in heaven who can interpret dreams. And he was able to give him the dream and the interpretation and was elevated to a high-ranking position in the land of Babylon. You know, my friend, just like Daniel and his friends faced a very impossible situation, we face in impossible situations all the time in our families, in our health, in situations that arise that are beyond our control. But like Daniel, the answer to every one of those situations is this: but there is a God in heaven. Do you think you have the answers to what happened this last week in that little Texas town in the Baptist church where someone walked in and started slaughtering people? Do we have answers to questions like that? Well, we can talk about it and we can search the scriptures. But the ultimate answer that we have is, but there is a God in heaven, and we fully trust him. You know, my friends, this week something is going to arise in your life that you don't understand, you can't control. It seems impossible. But let Daniel teach you the answer. And the answer, thankfully, is very simple. But there is a God in heaven.